it's not what's wrong with your appearance or your body, it's what's wrong with society. This is what fat phobia does. This is what, even it's not just always about being fat, it's just more beautiful people are less prejudiced. Other people who aren't seen as beautiful by society are oppressed and marginalized, whether that's because you have a disability or because you're fat. So it's not you that's the problem. It's not your body that needs fixing. It's society that needs fixing. So that's what I think we had to start with. We had to start working with our own belief systems around what it means to be fat or thin, and what assumptions and stereotypes you made about a person based on their appearance. No matter what your body looks like, you can have body confidence issues. So if weight loss was the solution, then all skinny people should have confidence and all fat people should be insecure. Body positive community proves that that's just not true. Except the difference was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you would never find a fat person in a magazine who was proudly declaring that they were beautiful. So you were led to believe that the only confident people in the world were these people in magazines. And now a lot of these models have come out and been like, I'm not confident. I'm just on the cover of a magazine. And I don't even look like her. So that's where you start. You start with the mind and you start with your inner voice.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. And first of all, I want to apologize. I've got a bit of a creaky voice today. I have a bit of a cold, but there was nothing that was going to keep me from today's interview. Today's topic is body confidence. Raise your hand if you feel confident in your body. Like, right? Hardly anyone. We all know the statistics. 91% of women feel unhappy with their bodies. 80% of women feel insecure when they see how women are portrayed in the media. And 81% of 10-year-olds are afraid of being fat. You know, I talk to women all the time who say, you know, they're putting off that thing that they really want to get to until they just lose some weight. You know, they're going to wait until they go back to school until they lose those 10 pounds, or they're going to wait to start dating again until they lose those 10 pounds. They're putting their lives on hold until they feel thin enough to deserve what they want. Why do we let our appearance rule us like that? Why do we give that number on the scales so much power? That's why I was thrilled when Michelle Elman agreed to come onto the show. Michelle is a body confidence coach with a degree in psychology and 5 board certifications in NLP and hypnotherapy. But you might know her best as the voice of the Scarred Not Scared campaign, a social media campaign with worldwide impact that aims to open up a conversation about surgery scars. After finding herself saying, people with scars can't wear bikinis, Michelle ate her words and posted a picture of herself on Instagram in a bikini, surgery scars and all, and it went viral. Cosmopolitan magazine called it one of the top body positive moments of 2015. And today, Michelle is here to talk to us about the work she does helping women feel more confident in their bodies. Welcome, Michelle.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about bodies. You know, it's pretty shocking that grade schoolers have already got the message. It's scary to be fat and you can never be too thin. How do we start to unravel all those cultural messages that say that no matter what weight we are, it's not thin enough?
We start doing things with our lives and we start making our goals and our ambitions the focus of our lives and not what we look like. I feel like what we look like, whether that's the fat thing or cellulite or stretch marks or whatever it is, has just become this excuse to not get on with doing what you want to do. With a lot of the people I coach, they'll say like, oh, I'll wait till the 5 pounds. But actually I say to them, if you're really honest with yourself, is it just that you're scared to do it? And now you're using your appearance as the excuse, because you could swap that with anything else. You could swap it with, as soon as you fix your cellulite, not that you could swap it for another thing. You could always create a new excuse why you shouldn't be doing it. And there'll always be a reason why society doesn't find you beautiful. But actually, being ugly doesn't actually prevent you from doing anything. Not that you are, but not that anyone is. But it's the fact that people use this big word as this stick to beat people over the head with, where I'm like, what's so bad about being ugly? So what? You're not beautiful. Move on. Next thing. Like, it's not something which we should revolve our whole life around. Our beauty doesn't define who we are and what we're capable of.
So I love that, because one of the things that I hear, I'm always out there researching, and there's some research showing that there is actually this thing called a beauty premium. Statistics have shown that attractive people are considered more competent, more likable, and worst of all, more worthy of a high salary, even though they don't do a job any better than anything else.
This is what we have to realize. It's not what's wrong with your appearance or your body. It's what's wrong with society. This is what fat phobia does. This is what, even it's not just always about being fat. It's just more beautiful people are less prejudiced. Other people who aren't seen as beautiful by society are oppressed and marginalized, whether that's because you have a disability or because you're fat. And so it's not you that's the problem. It's not your body that needs fixing. It's society that needs fixing. And that's what a lot of these body positive, body confidence coaches or advocates are promoting, is a space in which all bodies are seen as equal, so that we can actually start judging people on their performance and not on what they look like. Because frankly, when it comes to job statistics, it's shocking how discriminated obese people are. How does that affect your performance, especially when the majority of those jobs are sitting down at a desk and using just your brain? Your brain is no different regardless of what body you're in.
So how do we start changing culture? One of the ways you're doing it, I know, is by social media and spreading the word. Like, can we confront people? Can we say, hey, are you treating me differently because my weight isn't what you think it should be?
Well, I think it comes across when you're having conversations with people, when you're the size I am, especially, you get conversations. I mean, I was sharing a story with my followers the other day about how I went to a psychic, which a lot of them lectured me about going to a psychic, but I sometimes believe in that stuff. And she spent half of my session that I was paying for body shaming me and telling me I had a thyroid problem and telling me that, word for word, what she said, bear in mind that she's a psychic, that I won't find love until I lose weight. And I'm like, you're a psychic. The amount of power you wield, as in the amount of authority people will place on you purely because you have that label, means you are influencing people purely by saying that stuff, and you should never be saying that stuff. So whether it's a doctor or a psychic or your mum, we shouldn't be perpetuating these preconceived notions about what someone is or what they're capable of by what they look like. There's a movement called Healthier Every Size. And one of the main things that people face when you're a certain size or you look a certain way is that it's assumed what your health is, whether you're skinny or fat. People assume that because you're skinny, you're healthy. When you're fat, that you're unhealthy. When actually, there's this incredible movement which says you can be healthy at every size, and that's demonstrated by having plus size, morbidly obese Olympians, and also by having really skinny women who eat Burger King every day, never go to the gym. But even though every single woman has a friend who can eat whatever they like and never gain weight, people don't believe it works the opposite way around. And I'm like, well, if you actually have experience of being friends with someone who can eat whatever they like and not gain weight, then surely the opposite must be true. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me that one side of the coin it works, and with the other it's like, oh no, that can't work, you can't be fat and healthy. And it's like, well, actually, go look at the Olympics. There are all types of bodies in the Olympics, and if they're capable of that, then so are we. So that's what I think we had to start with. We had to start working with our own belief systems around what it means to be fat or thin, and what assumptions and stereotypes you made about a person based on their appearance.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really like about that is when I was in high school, I was the heaviest of all of my friends. And so I had this view of myself as the fat girl. And so today I'm about the same weight I was in high school, and I still see myself as the fat girl, because back in high school, that was when I formed my body image. That was when that was when my, neurons kind of solidified and said, right, well, you're heavier than everyone else. And no matter how my body changes, I am still that girl in high school. And so one of the things that often happens is people lose the weight, they get down, but in their mind, they're still the fat person, they're still the heavy person. So it isn't what your body looks like, it's what your brain is telling you look like. And that's much harder to deconstruct and kind of, get back on track.
Exactly. I mean, isn't that proof that it's not your body that's the problem, because if you can lose all that weight and you can grow out of this fat person and still have that mentality and still think you're fat despite what the mirror tells you, then what's the problem isn't your body, it's your mindset. And that's the part that needs changing. I think also the other thing that proves that it's not your body is the fact that no matter what size you are, no matter what your body looks like, you can have body confidence issues. So if weight loss was the solution, then all skinny people should have confidence and all fat people should be insecure. The body positive industry, body positive community proves that that's just not true. Except the difference was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you would never find a fat person in a magazine who was proudly declaring that they were beautiful. So you were led to believe that the only confident people in the world were these people in magazines. And now a lot of these models have come out and been like, I'm not confident. I'm just on the cover of a magazine and I don't even look like her. So that's where you start. You start with the mind and you start with your inner voice.
So let's talk about body dysmorphia, because that's one of those terms that keeps coming up. And it's you see your body in a distorted way. What you see in the mirror isn't actually what your body looks like. So do you think that's quite common then?
Well, I actually think we all kind of have body dysmorphia, because how could you look at anything in the world without placing your preconceived projections on it? Whatever you look at in the world, you view with all of your experiences and your history. So obviously, whatever you look at in the mirror will also adapt as well. Whether it's looking in the mirror or public speaking or whatever it is, you literally map out your experiences onto that. 10 people in a room could be listening to a talk and they would all listen to different talks. The same happens with mirrors. 10 people could be looking in the mirror and you could look at a completely different person because you've lived a different life. And so you have different projections and you place that on whatever object you're looking at, whether that be a mirror or someone speaking on stage. And so I think, I mean, I wouldn't call it body dysmorphia, but I would call it like we all have these warped perceptions of ourselves. And it's again, if you change your mind, you change what you see, you change what you focus on. There's actually been a study that shows that people who are more confident, when they look in the mirror, actually look at their whole body as a singular picture, whereas people who are insecure focus on one body part and segment their body into sections. And you'll notice that in the language people use, because they'll say things like, oh, my thighs are really ugly. But when I look at my body, what I'm looking at is my whole body. I don't segment my body, and nor does anyone else looking at my body, because that's the only thing we do to ourselves. We don't do that to other people's bodies. You won't look at a picture of someone and just take their eyes out and just take their lips out. But that's also why I don't believe in a lot of the advertising use where we objectify women and literally take out certain body parts, because that's what leads to that kind of thinking when you look in the mirror.
That is so true. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to go back to one of the things you said, losing weight isn't the answer, but it is so funny how we seem to think it is. We've got these fad diets going through right and left. We've got these diet gurus being hailed as like, the saviors come to save us. And it's like, what's happened is this journey from fat to thin has become kind of this heroic quest that if you can achieve this journey, then, congratulations will rain down on you. You will be forever happy and at peace. But of course, it's not true, because so what if you lose the weight? It's still you. It's still you inside.
And this is what people don't realize. And the thing that I get really passionate about is with these before and after pictures of you having lost all the weight, you do realize that previous picture was still you. So however you talk about that previous picture, that person is inside of you. I believe you hold all your younger selves within you. So let's say you were fat at 15 and now you're skinny at 25. If you talk about your 15-year-old as your inner fatty and you're rude about your inner fatty being like, oh my God, I was so disgusting when I was a teenager. Oh, I was so ugly when I was a teenager. Do you not think your unconscious mind hears that? Do you not think your unconscious mind is affected by that? And worse, let's say, okay, so you keep the weight off from 25 to 35 and then you get pregnant and you gain weight due to pregnancy. What's going to happen to your self-esteem? What's going to happen to your worth? You've equated your self-esteem and your worth to your thinness. And now, due to no fault of your own, you're gaining weight. that's going to go out the window. So I don't know about you, but I'd rather build my self-esteem and my worth from a more reliable source, which is from inside of me.
So can you give us some practical tips on how to do that? Because, everybody would love to feel confident, but it's not so much as saying, rah, rah, I'm so great. How do you actually do it?
Yeah, I think the thing I've been saying most recently is I actually believe it's possible for you, because I've started noticing this trend with body positivity becoming bigger on Instagram, that everyone's like, yeah, that's all right for you, but I can't do that. I'm like, well, okay, flip it around. If you can do it, then I can do it. Start thinking that instead. So first of all, realize it's possible for you. Second of all, I'm a big believer in knowing what your body looks like. So one of the first tips I give my clients is, I'll say to them, you can't love your body if you don't know what it looks like. You need to look at the mirror every day naked. And and they're like, oh my God, I couldn't do that. Like, I don't even have sex with a light on, or whatever it is. So what I tell them is brush their teeth naked, because it's 2 minutes. Everyone can do 2 minutes a day. You're brushing your teeth anyway. As soon as your inner thoughts start going crazy, all you have to do is focus on the teeth brushing and just clear your mind and stop self-abusing yourself inside your head. And worst comes to worst, it's 2 minutes. And then you can put your clothes back on and it's fine. And usually, I don't know about you, but I have a shower in the morning, so I'm naked anyway. It's a great time to spend that time also fostering a ritual and a habit of saying positive affirmations to yourself. So whatever I need that morning is the time that I say that. But I'll say, like, you're really strong, you're really confident, you can do this. Whatever it is that I'm nervous about or worried about in that time, I'll start having a conversation. And I do think it's really powerful having a conversation with yourself in the mirror. So not only do you get the body positive, like, oh, my body actually is really beautiful, and starting to getting used to your appearance, but also you have the positive affirmations of starting to build a positive relationship with your mind, and starting to build a positive relationship with your inner voice. And I call it my inner child. So that's where I start. And then also another thing that I believe in is doing the things that scare you. So there's always something on your list that you've not done because of what you look like. For me, it was probably dance class. That was the one thing I love dancing. I'm not very good. Never will be very good, and I've accepted that. But it's the fact that I used to not go because I was worried about being the fat girl in dance class and that I wouldn't be able to keep up. So now what I do and what I tell my clients is that go to the dance class, or go shopping with your friends. And when you don't want to and you're like, oh, but what if I go to the beach and wear a bikini for the first time and it's awful, then just tell yourself you can leave whenever you want to leave. But the key point is to keep that promise to yourself. So when you want to leave, actually leave. Because if you tell yourself you can leave when you want to, and then you don't, and you push past 10 minutes and you push past half an hour, even though you want to leave and you haven't left, then the next time you tell yourself, okay, we're going to do this scary thing, but if we want to leave, we can. Do you think your mind will believe you? No. So you'll just never do it again. So it's about also building that self-trust.
That is fantastic. Now, you've written a book and you're giving a TED Talk on this. Do you want to talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the TED Talk will be in November and will be all about how to stop apologizing about your appearance. And the book will be out next year, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
What is it about? What's its title?
Not sure I could say any of that stuff yet.
Oh, okay, not ready yet. So you've also got a campaign, Scarred Not Scared About Surgery Scars, and I know that that's something that affects so many of us. You know, I'm a mother, and I had an emergency cesarean, and, it's still there. And yeah. I remember when I first got it, thinking, this thing is so ugly. Is it ever going to go away? And, it's been how many years? And no, never going to go away. It's part of you suddenly. And you think, that makes me flawed now. That makes me not have this perfect skin. And that's what your campaign is all about, to try and help women say, hey, this isn't a broken part of you. This is just life.
Yes, and exactly. And your body is, what I say is, it's decorated by these scars now. Who gets through life with their body untouched and completely perfect as when you were born? No one does. Like, you get bruises, you get bumps, you get scars, your skin changes, your skin grows. and you got an amazing child out of it. Like, that's what the scar did for you, and what the scars for me kept me alive. So there's always a lovely story behind a scar, whether it's traumatic or not. Mine happens to be a little bit traumatic, but it's a lovely story because it's interesting and it made me who I am. And I think there is a thing around scars where it's permanent and life altering, and you can't do anything about it unless you want to get plastic surgery. And so it definitely puts you on the sidelines of what beauty is in our society. And I think embracing it is the only solution. I'm not saying you have to think your scar is beautiful. A lot of people don't. But what I'm saying is that scar can't be the reason you don't do anything in life. Whether the only thing it's stopping you from doing is wearing a bikini, doesn't matter. It shouldn't be shouldn't be the reason for anything to stop you from doing anything in your life.
Fantastic. Now, for those of you watching, if you want to know more about Michelle's story and the campaign and the work she's doing, we've got a link for you. Just go to yourbrilliance.org/Michelle. That's yourbrilliance.org/Michelle. Now, thank you so much, Michelle, for coming onto the show. We're coming up to the close, and I wanted to ask you if you had any final message that you would like to leave our viewers with.
Just that they can be body positive even if they're not body confident in the moment. Body confidence and body positivity are different. Body positivity is about other people, and body confidence is about yourself. So even if you're not body confident in your own body, make sure to be body positive about others, and stop the body shaming and stop perpetuating diet culture, and make sure that everyone loves who they are by even just saying positive things about other people's bodies. It'll infect your consciousness, and before you'll know it, you'll start saying positive things about yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you out there for watching. We're so glad you joined us, and we hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.